Never before seen documents connecting Ripple to a $12 trillion repo market. RLUSD is set up with BNY Mellon to handle this massive amount. We're going to go ahead and explore what the repo market is, why it's worth so much money, and how Ripple XRP and RLUSD efficiencies will be moving this market forward. We also have some other Ripple and XRP news, some Animoca brands here, connection to Ripple and tokenization. We're going to explore all of that and more. Let's first understand what is the repo market here. The US repo market is immense. The recent comprehensive estimates putting it a gross size of around $12 trillion in 2024 and daily transaction volume frequently exceeding $8 trillion. How the market really works. A repo or purchase agreement is essentially a short-term collateralized loan where one party, often a bank, dealer, or hedge funds, sells securities, most commonly US Treasuries, to another party with an agreement to repurchase those securities at a later date at a slightly higher price. The difference in price represents the interest paid on the cash borrowed, known as the repo rate. Here's an example of how this works. Party A, the cash borrower, sells treasuries to Party B, a cash lender, for actual cash. Party A agrees to buy back those treasuries at a later set date at a slightly higher price. The treasuries act as the collateral to reduce risk in case of a default from the party. Most repos are overnight or for a few days, though some can be a longer term, hence the term repo, open-ended, open repo. The Federal Reserve and other central banks use repos as reserve repos for monetary policy, adjusting lightly and interest rates in the system. The repo market is crucial for financial cash management, funding day-to-day market liquidity. And here's those numbers again: daily repo transactions anywhere from 2 to 8 trillion. Yes, yes, yes. And so how does this all connect to Ripple XRP and BNY? Let's go through that information together here. Chad Steingraber did post this. It says this right here is why Ripple chose BNY Mellon for custody of RLUSD backing, the sole US repo clearing bank. And of course, that is BNY. They have $55.8 trillion. And so here's Barclays next to Citadel and securities. You also have the DTCC clearing here, margin, cash. And also, let's go to these next images here. Look at all this. There's so much to go through here. So let's just go through it piece by piece. You have cash lenders here, which could be Vanguard, insurance companies, etc. Connections here to Barclays, UBS. You have trading venues that could be the DTCC. This could be TradeWeb. You also have different private quotes or cash borrowers here. In the middle, you have the DTCC, which is CCP Clearing, Central Counterparty, DTCC, netting, borrowing, margin. And then over here, you have the clearing bank, BNY Mellon and Citadel. So lots of going on, and it's connected here into the Federal Reserve. Here is another image. These actually lay it out pretty cool here, so you can really start to understand the complexity of all of these systems being interconnected together. Does say treasury customers here, hedge funds, asset managers, corporations like Apple or Microsoft, pension funds, insurance companies, all are connected into this dealer to customer market. This is kind of what this all looks like here. You have principal trading firms, securities dealers here, Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs is here. And then you have interdealer markets, DTCC, FICC, different connections. And so how does this all connect back to Ripple? That's a great question. Ripple's connection to the secondary market for US Treasuries and repo carrying flows center on the institutional grade stablecoin RLUSD and its strategic partnership with BNY Mellon, which is the sole US repo clearing bank and critical infrastructure provider in both traditional and digital financial assets or systems. Hidden Road, meanwhile, operates as a FICC clearing member and liquidity provider, pivotal for integrating hedge funds, non-bank liquidity sources to central clearing workflows. So I think that's what we're kind of seeing here with central clearing workflows. And then it says both have direct and systemic relevance to flows and custody architectures represented in the diagram. Ripple selected BNY Mellon, its primary reserve custodian for RLUSD. It's backed stablecoin, places RLUSD within institutional grade risk and regulatory infrastructure, aligning stablecoins. So basically, they're saying that Ripple made a strategic decision because BNY is at the heart of this $12 trillion, $2 to $8 trillion repo market. I believe that the entire market could be around 12, 13 trillion, but then you have constant money moving back and forth, and that's where the real value is, the settlement of that value. And then also Crypto Eerie, to move to the next thing here, Crypto Eerie says breaking scoop, leading gaming Web3 blockchain company Animoca Brands through a limited partnership funded by public Hong Kong-based DL Holdings, supported by Ripple, will tokenize special purpose vehicles primary on the XRP ledger. ByteDance, Kraken, eSelf AI, and will be tokenized along with Commercial Tower in Hong Kong Central District to select Animoca's brand IP. The aim is to bridge TradeFi with DeFi for global private equity real estate markets, RE markets, securities, and futures commission in the Hong Kong Independent, I believe it's real estate, right? Statutory body responsible for regulating securities and futures markets is reviewing. Official release link below, Hong Kong 8th of October 2025 as the date of this announcement. And here was that announcement. Chad also posted Animoca Brands tokenized project will use XRP for private equity. The global private equity size is substantially and growing, with some estimates about 11 trillion by the end of 2023, projected to grow significantly by 2029. Be interesting to see what by 2029 it could be. And then just to give you some additional context here, the details: project partners, DL Holdings, Animoca Brands, Ripple Labs, Assetto, and then of course you have all these other companies. Pilot and approval. This initiative won approval and funding by the Hong Kong Cyberport program, part of the city's efforts for a global hub of blockchain-powered finance, technology assets including real estate, private equity stakes, and tokenized via the XRP ledger. Global private equity market size about 11 trillion. Real-world assets projected to reach over 2 trillion by 2030. Man, I wish we could get so much further by then, but it is a slow process. Reese Merrick, who is Senior Executive Officer and Managing Director of Middle East and Africa. Big news: Ripple is expanding into the Kingdom of Bahrain through our new partnerships with FinTech Bay, and will drive adoption and education around blockchain. So here is the announcement. Ripple is a leading provider of digital asset infrastructure, and today announced a strategic partnership with the Bahrain FinTech Bay, the kingdom's leading fintech incubator and ecosystem builder, which partners with government bodies and others to further accelerate the development and adoption of blockchain and digital assets and technology in Bahrain. The agreement will see Ripple and Bahrain FinTech Bay working together to positively contribute to the kingdom's digital asset ecosystem through a range of activities, including supporting the development and proofs of concept and pilot projects relevant to Bahrain's fintech ecosystem, showcasing solutions across areas such as blockchain technology, cross-border payments, digital assets, stablecoins, and tokenization, leading knowledge initiatives through educational collaborations and accelerator programs. And also here is Sharia analysis for Ripple and XRP. And so they're just highlighting that this is being done. And so Bahrain is a trailblazer in digital assets and blockchain regulation in the Gulf region, and Ripple's partnership with the FinTech Bay positions them to become a key infrastructure provider for digital asset solutions for local banks and financial institutions. Basically, Ripple is expanding here all over the place, especially here in Bahrain. That's going to give more infrastructure to some of these smaller institutions as well as bigger institutions in the country. The documented Sharia analysis by the Sharia Review Bureau, licensed by the Central Bank of Bahrain, is a major step towards compliance with Islamic law. So this might allow Ripple to go into other countries as well and use this to expand and to grow as well. Sharia certification builds trust and removes religious barriers, enabling banks and investors from Islamic finance sector worth $2 trillion globally. So this does unlock another $2 trillion possibly into the Middle East. Global legitimacy and expansion. This move helps to establish Ripple not as a payments or blockchain technology leader, but also as a compliant, trusted partner in regions previously out of reach due to regulatory or religious limitations. Sharia compliance and a growing presence in strategic markets like Bahrain paved the way for further penetration into Asia, Africa, and other Islamic finance hubs where similar regulations and standards are to be met. So wow, there's just so much going on here with all of this BNY news and proof of concept. This is really well laid out, really well. Who's the account that did this? Let's just take a look here. If you're interested in following this account, Conconomics is the account you want to follow for all of these great pictures here. But wow, this is looking pretty cool. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you can show your support by hitting like, leave me a comment down below. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm tired today. My best effort. Peace. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.